My favorite client. You know, that's really hard because I have a lot of favorite clients, but I'll tell you one of my most exciting clients was I used to run the housing division at the La Costa tennis tournament in La Jolla for 3 or 4 years, where the tennis players, it was a female tournament, women's tournament. One year in doing this, I had this little 12-year-old show up. Didn't even speak a word of English. She was only there, she was from Serbia. She just was so nice and had very broken English. And I said, well, come and stay with me, because I was living alone at the time. You know, the next year she came back, and I think she was 14 or 15. And she had her driver's license. She came back and said she wanted to stay with me again. So, of course, I had her stay with me again. And then the year after that, she brought her mother and father. So then here's the Jelena Jankovic. I don't think she was even in the 50th ranked. And then the next year, she said, you know, I want my coat. To make a long story short, I think we went through 7, 8 years before, you know it, the last year, when she finally agreed to just go stay at La Costa. So when I got my real estate license, Jelena called me, Jelena Jankovic, and she said, I want to be your first client. It's like, oh my gosh, okay. She says, I want a house in San Diego. And at the time, Jelena, she was #1 in the world at that point. We ended up buying a 3-acre parcel in the Crosby in Rancho Santa Fe, and we proceeded to build a 25,000 square foot home. Now, in this day and age, you won't believe it, but we built that home to $900 a square foot. It had a 10-car subterranean garage. At the time, Jelena was playing for Porsche, so every year she'd get a new Porsche, so she always had all the Porsches. And she didn't want one thing in the house from the United States. So my job was being the brick counter, is what I would call it. All the materials that would come in through the port, whether it was flooring, windows, you know, all sorts, everything came in. And it took 4 years. And during that time, we had a wonderful friendship. And I got to travel, do a lot of tournaments. But the funny part about this whole story is we finished the house. The house is completely done, gated, the whole thing. And as she's getting ready to move in, she goes, you know, I'm not so sure I want this house. And I said, Jelena, I think you're stuck with it. That is the bird cage on the hill in the Crosby. Luckily, she did finally sell it about 4 or 5 years ago and has moved back to Serbia. But that was a very, very exciting time in my life to be with Snezza, her mother, her father, and really see the inside of what a professional sports athlete, what they go through.